welcome everybody back to the Inside Our Galaxy podcast. I'm your host, Eric Hernandez, as always. A Cali Clasico dub that we got over the weekend, a 3-1 win for the Galaxy. You got to see a lot of good things from this team. Of course, we get to beat our NorCal rivals as well. We're going to talk about that game, give you our thoughts, our analysis, everything that you need to know for that game. We're going to be talking about that. We got a little bit of Galaxy news sprinkled in there. And then, of course, we have our preview against Nashville SC, which will be in Nashville. A Tyler Boyd, return. Not really a return because we're going to there, but, we're going to see him again. So, a lot of things to talk about, a lot of good things to talk about, interesting things to discuss. So, let's get right into it, of course. And with me, as always, is my co-host, LA Galaxy Central. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing really good. Obviously, the weekend was a massive success. I was at the game. It was a lot of fun to go to, and the rest of the week has been pretty good, too. Today was a really boring day for me. I had a lot of really boring classes, but I'm happy to be here right now and maybe enjoy some Champions League later.
Of course, the weekend was nice. Of course, the win definitely helped with that, with the mood and stuff like that. And, the week has been okay. It is raining a little bit outside, so, we got a little bit of that. But, overall, it's been okay. But let's talk about this win against San Jose, though, which was the topic of discussion for the Galaxy community. Of course, like I said, we ended up beating San Jose Earthquakes 3-1. You got goals from Ricky Puig. You got goals from Dejan Joveljic. Payne still, of course, makes his mark with a goal and assist. You got a lot of production from the offense in this game. You got to see a lot of good things from this Galaxy team. And also maybe, the optimism is there for the Galaxy. Of course, a lot of people are saying we're back. I don't know about that, but, for sure, it definitely got the hopes up for the Galaxy community this weekend with that win. Of course, we get that win. And how'd you feel about this game? What were your thoughts? Of course, like you said, you were there at the game. How was the atmosphere? Just everything, man. Break it down for me.
Yeah, what can you really say about it? It was a great game to watch. The away fans enjoyed it. We all enjoyed it. I think the players enjoyed it. It was a really good game from the Galaxy. They played really well, very organized, kept that same intensity we saw versus Miami. It went into San Jose during their home opener and just completely blew them off the field. It was another one of those scorelines that didn't even reflect how I played. Honestly, we could have scored even a few more goals, and it was just a really good game overall. The Galaxy looked very, very impressive, but still, it's early on. We got to see what this team can continue to do going forward.
Yeah, definitely for sure. From what we saw in Miami, we said that that game could have been a 3-1. That game could have been, we could have scored more than one goal in that game. And of course, in this game against San Jose, you actually got to see the goals, right? 3 goals. That's great for a team. You got to see that production now in this game. And yeah, you're right. Maybe we could have scored a few goals because, there were some chances. I think Payne still had like a one-on-one chance that, the San Jose keeper made a good save on. But of course, still though, this was a great performance. I will say, unlike Miami, I don't think right away they came out as intense, but they still did show the intensity in this game. They might have slowly built up in this game. San Jose even had a few early chances in this game, but once the Galaxy just sort of figured out and started clicking, you got what we saw, and you even said it last week too. If you get these guys early into the game, that's going to be massive. And you did. You got to see with Payne still getting that first goal, and then it ended up being just sort of spiraling in the Galaxy's favor in this game. But, of course, against this game, it was pretty good. Overall, just a great team for performance. And, I don't know. It's very difficult to talk anything negative. Of course, we'll talk about that later, I guess, when it comes to the players. But for sure, in this game, it was definitely what you wanted to see from this Galaxy, for sure. And especially against a rival like San Jose and, going in their house and doing it. That's massive to do it on the road to get 3 points, But definitely, for sure. For sure, the optimism is there, though. But, any other points you thought about this game, I guess?
Yeah, of course. It took us 7 games last year to win our first game, and this year it only took us 2 games. Last year we didn't win our first road game until June, and it's early March right now. That's really got to help the Galaxy's confidence, not only right now, but just throughout the entire season, just getting that first win, that first monkey off their back, that, hey, we finally got our first win, which last year definitely lingered a lot. And even in the past, it's kind of lingered a lot too sometimes. It took us a while to get our first win.
Yeah, definitely for sure. And I think I saw it on X. I think it was Corner of the Galaxy. Josh tweeted this out. This is the sixth best, I guess, 2 game start in Galaxy history. So I mean that's pretty good when you think about it. Like I mean, and you're right. Last season wasn't a good start for us, and I think just in general, you're right. Like that, we haven't really had good starts in teams. They kind of slowly built up. And I think that's why people see the optimism in this team is the fact that we're now clicking like right away. And even then, it's like we haven't even really seen this team fully yet. Like we haven't seen Gabriel Peck start. He still is kind of getting incorporated in there. Brugman is barely getting his minutes, and then of course we haven't even seen Jalen Neal come back either because he's still injured. So it's like there's still a lot of things to improve with this team. But the fact that we're already going into San Jose and winning 3-1, like that's a good thing to see from the Galaxy, and I think that's kind of what's been getting the people hyped up and saying that we're back. Although I don't agree with it saying that we're back, but I think that's the reason why people are really getting this sort of hope and optimism from this team.
Yeah, I definitely understand the optimism. And another thing you could say, like you could talk about all these pieces too, but also with this team, there's a lot of salary cap space still available and room to improve with this team. So that's a really good thing too. We can add more pieces. And when you look at the roster right now, outside of maybe Zavaleta and Fagundes to an extent getting overpaid, we talked about it like last week or 2 weeks ago. There's not really many players on this roster you can say that are on a bad contract right now. Like you like the pieces, you like their roles, you like what they're getting paid. And what a lot of people says is this roster really makes a lot of sense. And right now, early on, I'd have to agree. It looks like a pretty good roster coming together at the moment with room to add.
Yeah, definitely for sure. I did also see a picture of Will Kuntz in the stands with fans. I know. Were you in the like the Galaxy supporter section in
Yeah,
that
it
game?
was. But he was there
Yeah.
after the game, and I left after the players walked off the field. I think that's when he went there, so I didn't happen to see him.
Ah, gotcha. Because I was gonna ask, like, I don't know if he was there during the game or like
No, I
how
don't think
long he was
so.
there,
I don't
but
believe he was there during the game.
okay. Okay, but it was still interesting to go for Will Kuntz to basically get out of like, I'm assuming they get a little box or like in like the, to see the game. But it is interesting the fact that he took his time to go walk to the Galaxy supporter section at least, and like maybe saw the few minutes, who knows? But at least be there with them. I think that's also another good thing that got people hyped up as well, because that shows that he cares not only just the product on the field, but as well as the fans. Um, but yeah, I mean, definitely for sure. And again, like I see the hope, I see the optimism in this team, but I there is still a lot of work to be done. I think there is just sort of this thing where we haven't really seen this team. Like obviously it's just week 2, right? Like we haven't really seen much, if anything. But obviously we still got to see how this team like handles adversity, how they handle bad stretches, or just how they handle other things, right? Like just other, yeah, just adversity. Like how do they handle that as well? So there is still a lot of things to see with this team, definitely for sure. You want to go into some of the players, or do you have any other few points before we move on?
No, we can go into the players. I think that's fair.
All right, then. Let's talk about. Let's start off with the defense. And also, this was the same lineup from week 1 as well as week 1. So you had McCarthy at goal. Your right back was Mickey Yamane. Your 2 center backs was Maya Yoshida, Martin Cáceres, and then left back was Julian Auda in this game. Who were your standouts in this game? How'd you feel about the defense overall?
Yeah, definitely my stance in this game would definitely be the fullbacks. I think both of them looked really good. The fact that Julian Aude had a full preseason with the Galaxy with his teammates, I think really is going to help him a lot this year. And early on, we're seeing some good signs. I think Yamanes came into MLS as a veteran player, adapted really well, a lot quicker and a lot better than Caligari. Like obviously, we had a lot of discussions about Caligari leaving and what that would look like with Yamane coming in. But obviously, he's been a massive success so far, just through 2 games and throughout the whole preseason. He's looked like a really good piece. The 2 aging center backs have definitely been good so far. That's still definitely a question if that can hold up throughout the course of a season because of their age. And Martin's still coming off an injury. You got to question that. But for now, it's doing the job. And McCarthy has been good in goal. And I think the defense has looked really good so far. But I think the fullbacks have to be the standouts so far. And they've looked really good with the full preseason with each other.
Yeah, and definitely Mickey Yamane was my standout in this game. And just to kind of give you a little bit of stats of his game, from that game, 71 out of 75 passes completed, 3 duels won, 4 clearances, 5 defensive recoveries, and even 12 passes into the final third. So we've seen it in Greg Vanney's system that the fullbacks are in, help out in the offensive side as well. And you're seeing Mickey Yamane just really adapting well, like right away. And I think, like you said, we talked about Calegari and we said that, oh, we, replaced one good right back with another good right back. But I think the difference with Yamane is that experience and veteran, I guess you could say, leadership just clicks in right away. Like we're not waiting for him to develop. We're not waiting for him to, um, I guess like learn the system. Like right away, he's already making this production, and I think that's also a good thing. And also, it helps having Maya Yoshida as well. Having a someone from the same country and help you out with that as well. So yeah, I mean, Mickey Amane right now has just been playing great. Like for um the start of the season and both fullbacks too. I think Aude had a little bit more of a rough game, but he still played very well. And then of course the veteranship in the center backs and McCarthy just being that guy in the back and for the goalkeeper. So yeah, I mean defense definitely played well. I mean we did get scored one goal, but I don't think that was really a defensive error or anything. It was just a bad bounce off a player, and Preston Judd happened to be in that area, right? And which also Preston Judd scores on us. How poetic justice for him, I guess, considering the fact that we traded him this off season. But
Yeah, so
I don't know.
I have one thing. I have a comparison to make right now. So, doesn't like going from Caligari to Yamane kind of remind you of going from Raveloson to Brugman a little bit? Kind of like, yeah, we liked Caligari just like we liked Brugman, just like we liked Raveloson, sorry. And they were both like pretty good at their positions, pretty good their time here. But it just feels like going from Caligari to Yamane and then Raveloson to Brugman really just kind of made this team better, and they fit the system a lot better than those guys did. Not that they're bad players, but it's just a better fit overall in our starting lineup right now. And that's kind of what
Yeah,
it looks like early on so far.
yeah. I mean, definitely, I can see the similarities in that aspect because yeah, right. Like, and I think you could even say the same thing when Brookman came in, right? Like, it wasn't the fact that like we didn't have to develop him as quickly into the system. Like he fit in very easily into our system, and so that's why Brugman has been, when he came in here was really good. Still is a good player. Hopefully, we get him in, get him his minutes, within these next few weeks. But for sure, like it does give you that comparison for sure. But yeah, I mean, I like Nicky Yamane. I think and I don't even think a lot of people really give him that praise. I guess not saying that people are like talking shit on him or anything, but it's just more like he's kind of under the radar for Galaxy fans, I guess, but he definitely deserves the praise, and I think that him being on this team and the addition of him being on this team has definitely benefited the Galaxy very well.
He's definitely a really good passer and really good with the ball at his feet, which is something I can notice about both Brugman and Yamane when they both came to this team. They're both very clean with the ball at their feet. I think that's how Greg Van just wants to play. And you saw Raveloson and Caligari kind of were more shaky with the ball at their feet, kind of turn it over more. So I think overall it's just a better fit for how we want to play. And I think they're doing a really good job so far.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Like, possession is, we're, I guess Greg Vandy likes the whole possession thing, right? And I even said it, I was really surprised that he, 71 out of 75 passes, like, that, like, completed. Like, that's impressive. Like, I don't know the exact percentage on that. I'm not good at math, so I'm not going to do the percentage. But still, though, like, I mean, only missing 4 passes is out of 75 is insane. Like, that's pretty crazy. But, yeah, of course, I think they're just better on their feet as well. So, but yeah, definitely for sure they're good. Anything else about the defense? Any other points you want to talk about?
No, that's pretty much it. We got to give Will Kuntz credit right here because when we signed Yamane, you and I were just on here during preseason, which was fair. Like, we weren't sure about the signing. We didn't really know much about the Asian League, who he was. And Will Kuntz even came out here and talked about before he signed him that the Asian League was underrated. He wanted to go explore players in like AFCON and the Asian League and said there's a lot of underrated talent there. It looks like we found one of those underrated talents that so far look like a really good addition.
Yeah, definitely for sure. And like I didn't, yeah, I wasn't really, I don't watch the J League or anything like that, so like I don't really know much. But like from the outside, like yeah, like I knew it was an underrated league in a sense, but and him being one of the best players over there, definitely helped a lot. But yeah, him being on our team is definitely good for sure. Let's talk about the midfield. So like I said, midfield was also the same. You had Edwin Cerrillo in here. You had Ricky Puig, and you had Mark Delgado on the midfield. What were your thoughts about them? How'd you feel about it?
Yeah, Cedillo was solid enough. He did his job, so I think that was good. Delgado was very, very impressive. Not for what he did on the ball, which is surprising because he did have an assist, but what he did off the ball, he led the Galaxy in miles covered and field covered. He really covered every single space of the field. He's always doing the dirty work, the sacrifice, the hard job for the Galaxy, allowing Ricky Pooch to be more attacking and allowing the center defensive midfield to probably distribute a little more. Delgado really is a very, very important piece to this team, and we're not the same team if he's not in the lineup, and that's very true. And Ricky Pooch was also just really, really good. He was getting into those pockets of space, really just picking San Jose apart, penetrating the ball forward. He was just pretty much unstoppable that whole game. And yeah, the midfield was pretty good. I think they did a really good job. And I think Delgado and Ricky Pooch definitely were the two best players in that midfield the whole game for either side.
Yeah, definitely agree with you on there. Of course, Ricky Pooch doing his thing. We're not surprised that he does his thing every match. But of course, he played well. Edwin Surreal played solid, and yeah, Mark Delgado. I mean, I it's funny because I always have this one like person DM me that always says like, why don't we give Mark Delgado the love? Why don't we talk more about Mark Delgado? Why don't things like that? And you know what, man, I agree. Like Mark Delgado is a very important piece to this Galaxy team. And I know I've seen people say like, oh, maybe we should go for somebody else and Mark Delgado can be a very, like a valuable bench piece or something like that. But the reality is that he's been playing well, that he deserves that spot. Like, I mean, you talked about it, the coverage, right? Like he was everywhere. There was one point where he ran like 6.2 miles in the game, and I don't remember exactly what minute, but yeah, I mean the guy was like everywhere, and also got an assist for the first goal, so that there was that as well. He's also been the guy who has been contributing with the offense as well. So yeah, I mean Mark Delgado just again great piece and really is the engine of that midfield. And just in general for the midfield, it's like if the midfield doesn't have a good game, I think that kind of tells you like if the midfield has a good game, like then the Galaxy are going to have a pretty good game. If the midfield is shaky and maybe not as productive, then that's when the Galaxy kind of, aren't as productive as well. So the midfield is always going to be important for this team.
I mean, yeah, you really have to give Mark Delgado a lot of credit, though, because he really is doing all that hard defensive work for the Galaxy, off the ball, making those runs, covering the space. It's not something you probably noticed during the game because you're watching the ball and where it's going. You're not watching off the ball, but he does so much work for this team. And it's hard work, too. It's hard work that allows Ricky Pooch to go forward. It's hard work that allows Edwin Cedillo to really play out of the back. If Mark Delgado wasn't putting in that effort game after game and really making a sacrifice for this team to be better, it's like it's not the same team at all. We really got to give him credit for that. He's doing a really good job doing all the hard work for us and even contributing to the offense at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. He's that workhorse. He's that guy who's just gonna keep doing all the work. Like no matter how I guess difficult it is or how much work he has to put in, he's gonna do it. And I think that's great to have. And that's sort of the thing last year as well. Like once Mark Delgado was down, like you never really had another guy who's capable of doing that. So he is very important. And him being healthy and him having everything that he's been doing, like again, also helps the team as well. And like I said, for the midfield in general, if they play well, this Galaxy team's going to play well too. So the midfield is definitely important, and Mark Delgado is a very important piece to it.
Yeah, I mean, look, we did criticize Vanny a lot with some of the guys he got. Like, he got an aging Victor Vasquez. He got Chris Mavinga towards the end of his career. He got Zavaleta, who wasn't very good. He got Raheem Edwards, who eventually got traded for just money, and Julian Alde was always going to be the starter. But he brought in Mark Delgado, and you got to give Vanny a lot of credit there. That's one of his few former guys that, still is and still can be going forward, a very valuable asset to this team. So you got to give Vanny credit for bringing him in there.
Yeah, and not to mention, like, Mark Delgado is still like somewhat young, right? Like we kind of joke prime, about him. Yeah, like he's 27, right? I believe that's his age, around there.
Yeah.
But point is, it's like he's been around in the league for so long too. It's like he has that veteran presence. It's like in a sense, he's the oldest, 27-year-old on the team. Like it doesn't feel like he's 27, but he is. And it's kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, I mean, Mark Delgado is definitely, just is that guy, and for that midfield as well. So it's great to have him healthy for sure. Like it's great to have him healthy, and I hope he stays healthy for the rest of the season as well. But anything else about the midfield that you want to talk about?
No, I mean, Ricky Pooch was also really, really good. We talked about Delgado a lot, but Ricky Pooch, he was just picking San Jose apart. Like, watching him play San Jose, it was so good. He was really just, they couldn't keep up with him, honestly. He was getting into pockets of space, and he just kept penetrating the ball forward, and they couldn't really do anything about it.
They let him so wide open for that goal. Like he literally just ran straight.
They
Nobody
did,
was
yeah.
near him from like at least a good 10, 15 yard radius or something. Like nobody was near him. So it's crazy. And honestly, that's another thing too about San Jose. Like, and I think you even alluded to it last week. Like San Jose just gives too much space. Like
They
they
do a
really just
lot, a lot
like
of times.
they give up way too much space. And I was looking at the highlights and looking at the replays. I was like, damn, like they really just like let these guys walk in at some points. Like it was pretty crazy to see. But still though, yeah, like I mean Ricky Pooge always going to do his thing and gets a goal as well. I don't think he got an assist, right? No, he didn't get an
No.
assist. So yeah, just got the goal. But still though, you got him on the board, and that's going to be good for him. For the rest of the season as well. But all right, let's talk about the offense. Offense, you had Joseph Paint still, you had Diego Fagundes, and then of course up top you had Dejan Joveljic. Again, a very productive night for the offense. How'd you feel about it? What were your thoughts about it?
Yeah, you said it yourself. Productive, 3 goals. That's going to get the job done usually, unless it's last season where you concede 3 goals a game and tie 3-3. But more times than not, if you score 3 goals a game, you should probably win most of the time, and that's what luckily happened this time. And yeah, about the offense, I think Diego Fagundes, kind of like Edwin Cedillo, was a really solid piece. He just did his job. He did fine. Didn't really stand out either way, but wasn't exactly a negative either. He was all right. I mean, Joseph Penso was really, really good. Obviously, we talked about him last week versus Miami, and he followed that up this week with his first Cali Clasico goal, which it was a great goal, a very good effort on goal, and that was a great way to open the score. And then Dejan Joveljic, I mean, it's week number 2 now. He scored a goal in a row. It's not just a 1 week thing. So getting his second goal, getting that in the starting lineup, Joseph Pencil makes an amazing run. Delgado has a great find him. That was actually a really good goal. Joveljic lays it off. They find Painstill. They cross it to him. It's a good finish from Joveljic. So you got to be happy with the offense and the way they played. And Joveljic getting another goal too is really good.
And like I mentioned earlier, you still don't even have Peck starting, so who knows what that offense could even look like with him. But definitely for sure, it's like yeah, I mean the offensively we looked great, and Paint still really making his mark. I mean, again, great finish for his goal. Great way to find Dejan Joveljic for the assist, and just in general, like I guess like there was last week we were seeing the potential of Paint still, and we were seeing like, hey, like how is it going to go with him? And now this game, you saw what he was capable of doing, and now you're again brings up the hope and optimism for this team because of Joseph Paint still and how he performed that game. And also another thing about Paint still, we kind of talked about it in the offseason, was like, is he going to be committed? Is he going to be motivated to be with the LA Galaxy and MLS in general because of his situation on where he was possibly going to go? But I mean, he seems more committed than anything. Like I mean, he really does like being here. He does like playing for this team, and you could even see in like his emotions from the goals and from this win was just if that doesn't tell you committed, I think then we got to get like our eyes checked or something. But but definitely for sure he looks committed for this team, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I was very surprised to see Peck didn't start though, because I thought going into this week after Peck had a full week of training, Fagundes didn't play that well versus Miami. I'm like, okay, Peck is for sure gonna start. But then when I saw the starting lineup, it's like Peck didn't start. I was kind of confused in a sense. But to be fair to Vanny, it's like we did play well versus Miami, so it might have been worth giving this lineup a second chance. But still, I thought Peck was gonna start.
Yeah, very definitely interesting for sure. And also I think Diego Fagundes even had like 4 chances during that Miami game, so maybe they also saw that as well and said like, you know what, like yeah, let's just give this lineup another chance. I thought it was interesting that they took off Joseph Paint still for Gabriel Peck in the game, and I even think
I know,
Paint still
right?
was even Paint still was confused. Like I don't like you were actually there, but like on the broadcast, like he was like what the hell, like why am I coming out? But I thought that was very interesting. It was also 3-0 at that point, so maybe Vanny just wanted to try to experiment a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it was interesting that they didn't start Peck in this game.
Yeah, that's super weird they took Painstill off. I'm glad you mentioned that because like he looks super good. He still looks super fit. He had a lot of energy. I don't know why they would take him off. And I feel like Peck with Fagundes is kind of a weird fit on the field. Like they're both these on-ball creating players, and while Painstill is a more goal-threatening, dangerous swinger. So I think Peck and Painstill together would be a perfect fit, but we won't get to know until they play together. And obviously it didn't happen last week, and it looks like it's probably not going to happen this week either.
No, it definitely, which is also like a piece of news. Supposedly Peck is getting married, so of course from the coming from this podcast and from the from me and Alex here, congrats Peck, congrats on getting married. But But yeah, I mean, definitely for sure, it was interesting that the they didn't play him and Payne still together. I mean, I guess in a sense, it's like, maybe there is going to be instances where Payne still is not available, and so you want to see as well, like what can Peck do with Diego Fagundes. So I think, and again, they were already 3-0 at that point, so maybe it was okay to experiment. I think my only concern was he started very early with the experiment because I think Payne still came off like 65th minute, somewhere around there, like somewhere in the 60s. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. But I mean, at least it didn't, nothing bad happened because of it. So I guess there is that. Also, I didn't really talk about much about Dejan Jovic, but for sure, Dejan Jovic getting a goal and assist in that game definitely it's got to boost his confidence for sure. I mean, 2 goals in 2 games is good, especially compared to last year. So we'll see how that goes with his confidence and how he builds up going forward.
Definitely. So how do you think Peck and Paints are going to fit together? Like, do you feel confident in that fit? I feel really confident about it once it happens. You have the creating winger and the goal-threatening winger. I just think Peck right now, his role is kind of weird with the team. Like, first he came on versus Miami, and then we scored immediately. He had to defend the whole game. And then against San Jose, he had to play with another creating winger, so it was kind of a weird fit. He didn't really know if he was going to be selfish or passing. So I think his fit has been kind of weird. But once him and Paints do eventually get together, which is the hope, obviously, when you bring both of them in, I mean, how do you think that might work out?
I mean, on paper, it should work out. Like, I mean, I think it really should. But, yeah, I mean, still, though, I mean, we haven't really seen it, though, just because of the weird situations. Obviously, last week, you knew you weren't going to start him because he came in, a few days before that game even happened. And then this week, you got a full week. And then for some reason, you just don't start him. So it's like, again, I understand why you started Fagundes just because, he played a good game and stuff and hasn't been that bad. But I don't know. It's like I want to see more of Peck, and it sucks that this week we're not even going to see him because he's not going to be here. But I mean I am hopeful that it should work though. Like it really should because like you said, like he's more of a creative guy, and then Paint still is the goal threatening guy. So it's like it's the kind of like the yin and yang sort of type of deal. Like it should balance out.
Definitely. It should work. I'm optimistic it can work. I mean, it seems like a really good fit, but again, we have to see it play and see how it does throughout the whole season. Once we do see
Yeah,
it in the starting lab, hopefully eventually.
yeah. Hopefully we get to see that soon. Hopefully after Nashville, we get to see more of Peck, for sure. But yeah. Anything else you want to say about the team? Any other points of the game that you want to talk about?
No, it was a really good win. It was good to get our first win. Obviously, like I said before, last year it took us a long time to get our first win. So to get that first win off our back, I think is a really good thing. And yeah, hopefully, like I said last week, hopefully we can just build off it and move forward with it.
Yeah, definitely for sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Hopefully this just builds up, builds off, and it keeps growing. Like I said, we haven't even seen the complete team yet. You still got some guys that are missing or just slowly incorporating into this team. So there's still a lot of things to be answered, I guess, for sure. But again, with this start, I see the hope and optimism. And again, sixth best start in Galaxy history. So that should tell you something as well. But yeah, definitely for sure. Great win. Hopefully we keep that momentum up. All right, then. So let's talk about some Galaxy news. There wasn't really much, but of course we did get some Open Cup news. So I guess we got the Galaxy 2. They will participate in the U.S. Open Cup instead of the full team. There were some MLS teams that did get to take their first teams. There were MLS teams that are taking their MLS Next Pro teams, and then I guess there's some that aren't even participating at all. But yeah, we got G2 playing in the U.S. Open. So how do you feel about that announcement when it came up?
It's a joke. Honestly, it's just stupid. There's nothing really else to say. It's pretty embarrassing that they're getting rid of it. Like I said before, like if you do this in Italy with the Coppa Italia or Spanish with the Coppa del Rey or England with the FA Cup, it's not gonna fly there. And the fact that they're doing it here is honestly insane. Just for the League's Cup is like, there's not much to say about that. It's just it's very embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it is a joke. I mean, I said, like, you know what, like, I mean, the only positive you can look at it is that you get these young guys playing in a pretty important tournament. Like, that's a good, like, I think that's okay and good. But still, though, like, having this whole U.S. Open Cup debacle, and we've already talked about this before in the off season, like, it is a joke. Like, it really is, and no offense to those G2 guys, but, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, it really just doesn't make sense that why you would do this. And I said it last time. It's like, it's Don Garber just basically spitting in the face of American soccer. Like, this is a tournament that's been going on for over 100 years, and like you even said, like those examples, like if the English Premier League said like, hey, you guys aren't going to play in the FA Cup, it's like that just wouldn't fly there. It's like you're devaluating the history of the sport, if anything, because the FA Cup was there long before professional football, really. So it's like like it just doesn't make sense. I'm disappointed in MLS for doing this. I'm also kind of disappointed in U.S. soccer in general for even letting this happen. But yeah, it's just a joke, just for trying to put the Leagues Cup ahead of a very historical tournament and its value.
Trying to, they officially did that because the statement's out, so it's not trying anymore, unfortunately.
Well, true. It's not trying. It's definitely like already done. But I don't know. It's so stupid. Like I said it before, Leagues Cup built on entertainment. U.S. Open Cup is actually built off of competition and also helps progress, the sport in this country. So I just don't understand why you would take that away. But I guess it is what it is.
Yeah, one thing I have to say about the Leagues Cup though is how long are Mexican teams going to be willing to compete in it? Because they have to win like 9 or 10 road games in a row to win a tournament. It's ridiculous. That's basically impossible. No matter how good the team is, once you play like 8, 9, 10 road games in a row, you're just going to be mentally done. You're going to have no energy left. So I don't know how much longer they're even going to want to participate in it in this current format.
I'm assuming. I think this current format is supposed to run up till like next year. I think because I don't think they're gonna have this during the World Cup summer like that whenever that happens. So it's like I think it's supposed to be this year, next year, and then after that, it's not supposed to happen. But even then, I think there's a Clubs World Cup next summer here too. So I don't even know if they even do it next summer. So, but yeah, I mean, again though, like it's so stupid, like it really is, and we don't have to go into this too deep, but still though, it's just the decision is done, but it's a very terrible decision for MLS and just for everybody in general. But yeah, I mean, of course, just a joke. But for the G2 guys, like I mean, hopefully they do good, because it is an important tournament, so hopefully they take it serious and get to compete in this game. Another interesting thing though, it's like if let's say hypothetically they do win, like do they get the Champions League spot or does the Galaxy in general get it? Like that's also another thing too. It's like that's kind of interesting to think about.
I mean, with all due respect to G2, they are very, very bad. At least off last season, they lost like every game 5 or 6-0 to MLS Next Pro Team. So the chance of them winning it, I think I'd have a better chance of winning the lottery than they have at winning that. So I just don't think that's going to happen.
No, but I'm just saying hypothetically, if not even just them, just in general, an MLS Next Pro Team, like for those who are participating, it's like I wonder how that works. But I don't know. But hopefully G2 does good in it. Good luck to them. But yeah. But anyways, that's it for some Galaxy news. Let's talk about our preview against Nashville this Saturday. So, yep, we go up against Nashville SC. They are currently in 10th place with 2 ties. Starting off the season, of course, this will be the game where we get to see Tyler Boyd again. Ever since we traded him, he's actually had some good moments with Nashville already. This season and also in a Champions Cup as well. So yeah, how do we feel about going up against Nashville this weekend, and what are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is very interesting because I really don't know what to expect at all. Like Hani Mukhtar and Sam Surge, they're 2 DP players. I don't even think played a single minute this season so far. And Nashville have a Champions League game tomorrow on Thursday, and they have a game on Sunday too, and they play Miami tomorrow. So if they're going to want to compete against Miami, obviously they'll have to go full out starters. And so far through these first 2 MLS matches, they've kind of rotated their squad a lot. So I mean, Nashville could be rotated on Sunday. I don't know. Maybe if they just get blown out by Miami, they just put the starters in on Sunday and say, we'll put the B team in Miami. So I don't know. Like, there's really no way of knowing. I don't know Mukhtar's and Surge's status for the game. That changes the complexion of how you prepare. But yeah, either way, I mean, Nashville, regardless who they have on the field, plays the same way. They sit back a lot. They absorb a lot of pressure. They hit you on the counterattack. Unlike San Jose, they're very tactically organized. They don't leave a lot of space. They know what they're doing. They're very smart in the way that they play. They have a good identity. It's on the road. They don't lose very much at home either, no matter who's on the field. They haven't lost a game this season either. 2 ties. They do tie a lot. So I don't know. It's just one of those games where I don't really know how either team's going to approach it. For all we know, the Galaxy, This is their last game before a home game. Maybe they just want a point on the road and say, we'll take 4 out of 6 on the road, and that's good enough for us. Maybe Nashville just rotates their squad, and that makes it better for the Galaxy. There's no way of knowing what's going to happen if the Galaxy's more aggressive in this game, if they're not. So I don't know. It's kind of hard to prepare for. I don't really know what to say about it. It's obviously a much more tactically organized team than San Jose, but we don't know who's going to be on the field for them and what they might look like with those players.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. But with Nashville, I think Nashville is just one of those teams that have been, consistently good ever since they've been in the league. So, like, even at that one year when they were in the Western Conference, they still were able to compete with those Western Conference teams. So, yeah, I mean, Nashville, I think I don't think it's going to be like a huge test for the Galaxy, but this is where you see a little bit more, like a little bit of a test for the Galaxy, because like you said, this Nashville team is just a lot and defensively just a lot better. And I think and I was even looking at their highlights, the way they play, and they're just more. They really just take away those spaces, and not only just take away the spaces, but take away the options too. Like they always seem to be on somebody, and that really just affects opposing teams a lot. Whenever they go up against them. And then going up in Nashville is also tough. It's, for them ever since they've got into Geodis Park, that's kind of been like a somewhat of a fortress. So, yeah, I mean, of course, Nashville is just a very good team, but, there is challenges, for this Galaxy team, and it'll be interesting how they approach it too. Cause I don't know how, how they do go take that game. Like, like you said, they could just want to get the point and move on, or they can just try to go at it and see what they can do. But definitely for sure, it's going to be interesting how they take the approach for this game.
Would you take a point from this game just to tie?
I think.
Honestly, I
guess
probably.
Yeah, I mean, I would, but I guess it also depends on how we get that tie. Like because like for both of their games, like I feel like it was somewhat back and forth for both of their games. So if it's kind of back and forth, and like it's tough to dissect them and tough to break through their line, like then sure, yeah, I'll take the point. But if it's like we're winning and then like in the last minute they score, like then that's kind of like that's not a point. That at that point it's like like that tie feels like a loss, and that's what they did in Colorado. Yeah. Yeah, and that's what they even did in Colorado as well. Like I think they were losing, and then like right in the last few minutes they get that handball, and then they end up getting a point on the road. So Nashville's capable of doing that as well. So I mean, I guess it just depends, but I think in an overall perspective, yeah, a point seems like a fair a result for the Galaxy.
I will say though, we're probably going to have the ball a lot in that game. Though it's not going to be as easy to penetrate it or get through Nashville, because compared to San Jose, they're a lot more organized. But Nashville does give you the ball a lot, and they really do like to sit back. That's how they've been since they've been in MLS. And to be fair, it's worked pretty well for them. They've been to a Leagues Cup final, been to the playoffs just about every single year. So I mean, if it works for them, that's what they're going to do. But we have to be prepared for it, especially on the road.
Yeah, definitely for sure. It's going to be hard to break them down. Like it really is. Like when I saw their like their highlights and the way they've been playing, it's just like they're really on a player like at all times. Like it's pretty crazy. Like I mentioned earlier, like San Jose, it was like they gave them like at least a good like 5 maybe 10 yards away from the players. Like Nashville's players are like right on top of opposing teams. So it's like they're very much organized in this one, and I think that's where the Galaxy have those challenges as well. But if Joseph Payne still with his speed gets by, I think maybe that could also be the game changer for this game, because if he does what he's been doing, I think that also helps in the Galaxy's favor. But yeah, I mean, it is kind of like their first somewhat test of the season, because it is a team like Nashville.
Somewhat sure. Test? You don't think Miami with Messi was a test? Especially after they won 5-0 last game?
No, it was a test. It was a test for sure. But also you didn't know what that Miami team was capable of. Like a lot of people kind of had their doubts. You know what I mean?
I knew.
Like
I saw the Leagues Cup do it.
No, I know, but some people still had their doubts because of their preseason and how much they traveled. So it wasn't even like you can say like Miami like at 100 in a sense. Like obviously they had all their players, but like there were still some like doubts in a sense. But like obviously seeing that result, or the result that we got against them, and then seeing what they did last week, definitely should give the Galaxy some confidence for sure. But I'm saying like But and also a difference is that Miami's defense wasn't as good either. Like it was pretty easy to break through Miami's defense.
Oh yeah,
Nashville,
definitely, yeah.
like Nashville, that's what I'm saying. Like Nashville's defense is definitely a lot more challenging to get through.
Uh,
That's what I'm saying. Like it's a little bit more of a test. You know what I mean?
okay, so you're saying offensively for us with like Ricky Pooch and Joseph Paintsel, it's probably a harder test than it was against Miami because their defense is a lot more tactically organized and better, not the opponent itself, really.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, that's
That's
fair.
exactly what I'm saying. Yeah.
Because I was about to say, like, the opponent itself, when you're playing Messi, it's like that's always a really hard test. You have to mark him on the field and just track him every single time. That's a very hard test in itself. But defensively, I definitely agree. Nashville is a better side defensively and a lot more tactically organized in that spot.
No, yeah. Yeah, definitely for sure. Like I'm not downplaying Miami either because I even said last episode like they'll find their way and they found their way last week against Orlando 5-0. Like they're still a good team, but I'm just saying like the difference between them defensively is a lot more different. There's differences for sure. So that's where I see more of a test for this Galaxy team for sure.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, though, but no Peck like we mentioned earlier in this game. Is that going to be going to make this more difficult for the Galaxy not having him?
Maybe a little bit because I don't think he would have started this game regardless because we won last week. Van is probably going to make the exact same lineup, which I think is a fair choice. But Peck's energy off the bench was really good against San Jose. I thought he still brought good energy off the bench, brought some things to the table. So, right now he's not fully integrated into the team. He hasn't really established his full-time role right now, but I still think it would have been a nice piece to have, especially on the road if Fagundes is tired like he sometimes gets. But I mean, if he's getting married, I think that's a fair reason to miss one game, especially a game that's early in the regular season, not the playoffs or an elimination game. So I think it's fair for him to miss it. But yeah, I think we'll definitely miss him for sure to a certain extent.
Yeah, definitely. And it's not Douglas Costa what he did at Gremio where he went to a wedding instead of a relegation game. So
Yeah, I mean, this is not a relegation game, luckily.
Yeah, it's only week 3, so it's valid. It's fair. And plus Peck
Long season
Peck already.
ahead,
Yeah, and plus Peck probably already had this plan like way ahead, so it's not like we can blame him anyway. So yeah, but again, congrats to Peck. Hopefully everything goes well in that wedding. I don't know where that wedding's at. Probably in Brazil too, because I doubt he's gonna have it here. But
He just tells everyone, come up here, like I'm here now. Like when I planned it months ago, but we're doing it here now.
yeah, we're gonna do it here in LA. Nah, he's probably gonna if he does get married, because obviously there is still the possibility of something happening, I guess, or postponing that wedding. But like if he does get married this weekend, it's probably most likely gonna be in Brazil, I'm assuming. But still, congrats to Peck. Any other points you think for this game this week, or what do you think?
Yeah, one more point to the game. I think Joseph Pansel is going to be a massive player for the Galaxy this game, even more than he was against Miami and San Jose because, you look at Nashville's defense, it's super good, it's super compact, it's super organized, and you look at the one guy on the Galaxy, you don't really think of Jovic as a guy who's going to get in behind and use his quality to beat everybody. You don't think of Fagundes as that guy either. I think Joseph Pansel's that one guy in the front line that can really get by everybody and really just make a massive impact that game. And if the Galaxy are going to get a hard-fought draw or even possibly a win, which would be really good, I think Joseph Pansel has to have another massive game, and we'll see what happens with him. But hopefully he can, put on another really good game for us.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that. Joseph Pansel is probably going to be the key to that game, at least for like offensively. Like if he does what he did against Miami and San Jose, like against that Nashville defense, like I think, yeah, like we have a really good chance of getting a result there. So yeah, I mean, I definitely for sure Joseph Paintstil is going to be a key player for that game. And I think defensively at like I don't want to jinx it, but of course, like you mentioned it, like Hani, depending on Hani Mukhtar and others, just like how is that Nashville offense going to be going up against that Galaxy defense? That also changes the complexity of the team. But defensively, if we play like how we've been playing, I think it should be good as well for the Galaxy. But yeah, I mean, of course, it's gonna be interesting for sure going up against Nashville and on the road. And another thing too, just for this Galaxy season in general, like it's a tough first half of the season for the Galaxy. There's a lot of, I think, within the first 17 the first 17 games, 10 of them are away games. So it's going to be difficult. That's another thing too for this Galaxy that's going to be difficult for is that how does this team do on the road? They definitely did it in San Jose, but now they're going up against Nashville, where it's a little bit more tougher atmosphere wise, and then also opponent wise. So yeah, we'll see how this Galaxy team goes in general for this one. But yeah, I mean, I do feel I hope there is a good fight though for sure against this team.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. Any other points you want to say about this team or just in general?
No, hopefully we can keep our early unbeaten season alive in Nashville. Hopefully we can get something out of that game.
Yeah, definitely for sure. We can only hope for the best, like always. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for the episode. Can't thank you guys enough for watching and listening. Of course, if you want to follow us on social media, follow me at Inside the Galaxy on Instagram, on X. Go follow the Galaxy Central on Instagram as well. And yeah, anything you want to say to the listeners before we go?
No, I think that will do it.
All right, then let's move on out of here. All right, can't thank you guys enough. Be a friend, tell a friend about the podcast, whenever you're listening to this podcast. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day, rest of your night. And yeah, let's hope for the best. G's up.
7 words.